Welcome to Tri-City Hustle, stories of KWC entrepreneur.
That's a 4-page. I'm not going to play all of it for you.
What a musical journey. Welcome to Tri-City Hustle. I'm your host Prashant. Today I'm sitting with Sheeri Stuebing, who is a music teacher. Whenever we think about a successful venture in Kitchener, Cambridge and Waterloo, we mostly think about tech startup. But this time I'm trying to cover a story of a person who takes the skill which is very close to her heart and impart this knowledge to little kids in making them a better person and learning something creative skills as well. So enjoy the conversation. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to you for giving me this opportunity to feature you into the podcast. This podcast is basically about people who are trying to do something on their own. I want to feature them. I want to highlight the journey that they have gone through in establishing this. What was their interest like? Why did they jump into teaching or imparting this knowledge to somebody else, or especially to children? So I'm very thankful to you.
Oh, wow. I'm very thankful to be able to talk to you and explain my journey, my musical journey.
Perfect. So we'll get started with the first section.
Sure.
So I would like to know about a little bit about you. Who are you? What are you trying to do here? And how did you get into this field?
Okay. Well, my name is Sheeri Stuebing, and I am from St. John's, Newfoundland originally. And of course, having been from Newfoundland, there is a rich musical background in our province. So I have been exposed to music all my life. My father was a piano player. My mother sang. My uncle was in a band. Since I was teeny, like maybe 3 months old, I think I was exposed to kitchen parties and performances and things like that. So of course the bug is in me, or was in me. So that's kind of how I started. My dad started to teach me piano. I can remember him teaching me Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for the first time. That's actually a very nice memory. Then once I got into kindergarten, my mom said, okay, it's time to find a piano teacher. So I went to a private school in St. John's, and they had a nun, Sister Genevieve, that was teaching there. So I started taking lessons from Sister Genevieve, which I did right up until grade 10. Mm-hmm. And, did things, performed lots, did a lot of music festivals, recitals, things like that. And Sister Genevieve was a pretty nice teacher. She's a little strict. So my teaching philosophy kind of stems off things that I didn't want to happen in my lessons, that now I have more insight into how to change things now that I've seen not bad teaching, but just a stricter way of teaching to a more freer way. So I took up the flute in grade 6 and was in the band. And then when I went into high school, I decided I was going to try out for university. audition, and I went to music school after that, and finished music school, did a minor in education and major in music. And then I tried to get a job, and there weren't a lot of jobs in St. John's. So I was exploring other options, and I ended up doing what you call it, a job fair. And I went to this job fair, and I met this IT person, and they were doing music software.
Okay.
So I kind of got a shining to that. So I started to explore that a little bit and realized, okay, I could go back to school and I could do an IT degree. So I ended up doing an IT diploma. So I have a software engineering diploma.
Oh, you have?
Yes. So I finished college there, and my plan was to go find a music software job. However, back in 2000, not even 2000, 1998, there weren't a lot of jobs in that field in St. John's. So I started looking ahead. Of course, things were on, my resume was on Indeed, and I went through LinkedIn and all those fun things. And somebody contacted me about a job in IT. Now, it wasn't in music. So this person actually was a Newfoundlander, and he said, when I was looking for a job, somebody gave me a chance. And if you can get up here in 3 weeks in Ontario, I will give you a job in my testing program. And I said, okay, well, I'll see. So talked to my parents, and they were like, okay, if you want to do it, that's fine. We'll drive you. So I went and drove with them. They drove me up here and dropped me off. I had a friend that lived up here, so I lived with her for a little while. And I worked in IT then for, I don't know, 2000, I would say 6 years, IT and manufacturing, because I did actually change jobs. So music kind of went away. I mean, I still played myself. I still had this lovely piano, which is still here. I had that with me. I did lots of things like the Kitchener-Waterloo Ladies Barbershop Chorus. I sang with them, and then I ended up directing them for a little while, or assistant directing. Yeah, so I still had music in my blood, but it wasn't a forefront at that point.
Okay.
So to make a longer story short, when I got married and, of course, had children, I went on maternity leave and looking for things to do. Found a local music studio that offered family classes. So I took my 2 kids because, of course, I wanted to instill music in them, and chatted to the owner after 3 or 4 lessons, who was our teacher, and, kind of mentioned my background and whatnot. And she said, I might have a job for you if you're interested. And I said, oh, that's interesting. She said, well, it's only part-time. She said, but it would be teaching a couple of classes for me. So I had to go through the programming because it was Kinder Music International. Kinder Music International has a very strict kind of set of programming that you have to go through and steps before you can become a teacher. So I went through all that and taught for her for about 5 years. And we were out for dinner just as friends. And she said to me, I'm going to retire. Do you want my business?
Oh.
So I worked in her studio, which was in the bottom of a church, for 4 or 5 years. And then I thought about this opportunity, and I said, I'm kind of getting sick of the whole corporate world, and I wanted to be around a little bit more. My daughter is actually an actor and a dancer performer, and she's done many things in the world, including national tours on Broadway as a young child. And I was finding that I was having to go to a lot of auditions. So it was having to go to my boss in corporate and say, I can't come to work this afternoon because I have to be in Toronto with Isabella, right? So anyway, I I decided that I would take this job. So I took the job, and I took the opportunity to buy the company. So I said to her, I want a really good mentorship program because I don't know the first thing about running a business. So I actually did a couple of courses before I had decided to do this in business. So I had a little bit of background in business and website management and business management, things like that, through my IT programming and corporate programming that I've done. So she said to me, okay, I'll mentor you for a year. So she introduced me as the new owner, but she stuck around. Jan was her name. And she stuck around for the year. And I basically ran the program, and she mentored me. She told me what I needed to change or what I could do. And of course, there were some things I didn't agree with. And I went, yeah, okay, so when she's gone, I'm going to fix that, right? Which I did do. Yeah, so that's how I ended up here teaching. And yeah, so I think that covers everything up to where I owned the studio. I had 2 programming off rooms, and about 3 years later, I decided to put in the private studio. Yeah, so that's where we ended up.
So I have also noticed that you do partnership with community centers and do your sessions over there, and that's how I guess we enrolled my daughter into one of your programs, and that's how we came into contact.
Right.
So how do one go about offering their services that they are like maybe painting classes or something?
Mm-hmm.
How can they collaborate with the city and do this as part of the curriculum that the community center has to offer? And do you do this just for one community center, or do you go to multiple locations?
So interestingly enough, I didn't go looking for the community center. They found me. So that she told me that the lady that was in charge at the time told me that it was word of mouth and my Google reviews and things like that kind of led her to me. So I went in and I had a conversation with her about what I could offer. And I was quite happy with the way that we were doing things in regards to they wanted to focus on children. So that was right up my alley. So it worked out really, really nicely. I mean, that's really all I can say about that. I mean, it worked out really, really well. And they have me back every year or every term because my classes are extremely full and I have a wait list, and they love that, of course, right? So I have people that ask. I've been told by the front desk, and so people are asking now, like when they can sign up for the next session. So it's good that I have that following, and I mean, everybody seems to love me, so that's great. But I really didn't go looking for it. It just kind of fell in my lap, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you just go to one center, or do you go to multiple locations?
Well, I did actually also work at another community center. So I worked at I'm still at Kingsdale, and that's probably my main nucleus. And then I was also doing the Country Hills Community Center as well. But we were finding that was a Friday. The only day that I had was a Friday afternoon. And I think by Fridays, I think the parents are very tired and they don't feel like going to any activities. So we weren't getting a lot of traction there, I guess. And it really wasn't worth my while to offer for what they were giving me for my pay. So I kind of stopped that. And now my focus is just the Kingsdale Community Center. Now, that being said, if something else did open up, initially I was working through the community center itself. And then we were working on what we call a kind of like a shared profit situation. So that was what really interested me, actually, because they came to me and they said, what we want to do is we want to share the profits and then give you a percentage of what we make. and also have a percentage taken off to put towards a less fortunate child who would like to come to a music program, right? And that was interesting to me because I really think music is for everyone. And I don't think that any sort of economic situation should limit you from being able to be musical. So when that came up, I was like, oh, that's a great activity, a great opportunity. I will definitely come on board. So that was great. And then, of course, there were some issues that came up in regards to liability insurance. And I think there were a bunch of other things which I was not privy to. So the director of the community center came to me and said, we can't do the agreement anymore, but we'll hire you. And I said, yeah, you can't afford me because, I make pretty good money. And to go back to like a community center salary, I didn't think was that great. So I thought I was finished with them. And then the director of the programming at the community center said, I'm going to talk to City for you. So they talked to City and they basically told them how great I was and the following I had and the revenue I had brought in and everything else. And they came back to me with a number, which I said, okay, that's not a bad number. So basically I get paid a lump sum for each class for the term. And I do like the full term and then I get a lump sum at the end. So that's how we're working it now with the city. It's a good agreement. I like how it works because I don't have too much to do with the marketing or anything. Basically, I say I want to do classes on Tuesdays at 10:30 and Tuesdays at 4:30. And this is what I want to do. This is the age that I want to teach. And then they take it from there. And then they come back to me and say, okay, you have X amount of people in this class, X amount of people in this class. So it works out nicely that I don't have to worry about the marketing anymore, right? Because that takes up so much time. When I was doing my own, I was constantly having to market. I was constantly going to free events, passing out my business card. I was doing free webinars. I was advertising on Facebook, which was costing a fortune, and Google Ads, and all those different things. And although it's very good for your business and you do get a return, still it's a lot of money, right? So, yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's everything that I can say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So during this entire journey, when you started, like you got a studio and then started offering programs and you did some marketing of your own, was there a time where you think, that's it, I'm going to give up? I'm not going to teach anymore?
No, never. Now, that being said, when COVID hit, I'll tell you a little bit about how that happened. So I had the studio in the basement of the church that I was working at. Beautiful studio, 2 rooms, private room, lovely waiting room, kitchen, everything. And I was paying, well, the church really just wanted somebody in the space. So I had a very good rent. And then COVID hit. And they said, you cannot bring unvaccinated children. And of course, at that point, when COVID first hit, no child was vaccinated. So you cannot bring children in the church anymore. So I had to jump on the old bandwagon. And I'm a firm believer in you make lemonade out of lemons. So jumped on the idea of the online programming. Jumped on the idea of Saturday classes in the summer outside, right? Because nobody had to wear a mask and you could spread out. All these things. And so I basically had to pivot. Pivot was the word that we used so much that year in regards to also the place, because then they said, well, you can't teach here anymore. And I said, well, and they wanted me to keep paying my rent, but I wasn't allowed to bring anybody in there. And then I was like, well, this is kind of silly. So I connected with them and said, you know what, I'm going to give up my space. So then I moved out of there and I worked online for that amount of time. COVID was on. When things started to kind of get a little bit better, I partnered with a dance studio in town and I worked with them. They gave me a room there and I worked for quite a while, and then they lost their space. So I followed them to their new place, but it was smaller and it was really hard for me to find the space every week because they had classes too. So then I went back to churches. I ended up at the McIntyre Church. It's called the Legacy Church up on McIntyre off Strasbourg. And that is where I did classes for a little while. And then I thought, I'm not really making the money to be able to work, rent a spot, and pay my teachers and whatnot. So I let a couple of teachers go, unfortunately. Well, they were okay with it. And I kept one teacher on and myself, and we did Saturdays at the community center, and I brought everything else home here privately. So that's what we did. So yeah, but I mean, things like I worked with Trello, the project management software or the task management software. I use mymusicstaff.com, which is my invoicing system. So all those things as a CEO you learn, and you of course want to try and streamline all that so that you don't have to do things over and over and over again. So that's what My Music Staff does for me. It's a planning tool, it's a finance tool, and of course I have an amazing accountant. I have to give props to her, because if I didn't have her, I don't know what I'd do. Because you have HST and you have end of year taxes and all those things that you have to handle. I don't do any of that. That's all out of house. But yeah, so I use lots of different ideas with professional development. I'm very big on professional development for myself. So all those things help to grow your business and make the customer experience one that is satisfying for everyone, including me. I mean, if you're not having fun in your lessons, neither am I, right? So, yeah.
So this region of Kitchener-Cambridge-Waterloo is known mostly for tech startups and tech setup. How do you think the support has been from the community, not only community centers or churches, but people? Do you think that it has a scope for somebody who wants to do something artistic, or somebody who wants to offer some art, some lessons for their art that they can impart to some other people? Do you find that kind of support here?
Well, there are options that you can take advantage of. So when I was first starting my program, when I took over from the other lady, I contacted Waterloo Business and through the city and a couple of things like that, and I went to a number of different meet and greets and things like that, which helped me kind of form a business plan and things like that. Now, I had a lot of background in that anyway. And, some of the marketing that I started off with and things like that, I had not known too much about website and SEO and things like that. And they also gave me some names of some students and some co-op students that could help me make websites and different things like that, which I did avail of. But other than that, I don't know if I really had too much support from the city after that. You're right. I mean, the tech sector is where all the money goes. And it's a shame because arts is so important, right? And it hurts me, even especially with the schools now cutting out their music programs and different things like that. Like, that just kills me. Now, I teach at a Montessori as well. I teach at KW Montessori. And At least I do a music program once a week there and once a month for the little ones. And that's how they're getting around to it. But of course, that's private funding, right? Um, I really don't think there's too much that the city has done for me otherwise.
We talked about what all you have to offer, your story, your journey. That's beautiful, and you played a beautiful piece for us. Thank you for that.
No, thank you.
We'll move to a round. We'll do a rapid fire. You don't have to. I will give you just like 5 seconds to think about that question, and whatever comes in your mind, you'll have to answer that.
Okay.
Which one would you rely on? Physical planner for schedule your lessons or digital calendar?
I'm a physical planner person.
Okay. How does your inbox look like? Do you have like
It's
thousands of unread emails, or
Yep.
do you reply to them as and when they?
Yeah, but a lot of it is because those are subscriptions that I apply, that I am members of and whatnot. So there's things that I just haven't gotten around to reading.
So let's say if you have to decide on a new lesson that you want to impart, would you go with the data, or would you go with your gut feeling?
Oh, I rely on my gut. I think, you can say yes, the data matters, but I think I have a very good pulse on the community and what people want in music. So,
Okay, perfect. Acoustic piano or digital keyboard?
well, I have 2 digital pianos. Reason I like them is because it saves you money on tuning. I have also had a number of acoustic pianos as well, and they're lovely, and the touch is lovely. My dream is to one day have a beautiful grand piano in here. However, right now that's not in the cards, so I'll stick with my digitals because they sound a lot like a grand piano.
Yeah. What is the single biggest myth about teaching music to kids?
Oh, that to kids or to students, we'll say.
Yeah.
I cannot learn music, or I can't sing, or I'm tone deaf, because I am a firm believer that everybody is musical. How many times do I hear, oh, I'm not musical? Oh, they're not musical. No, everybody is musical. Everybody has music in them. It's just a matter of drawing out what it is and how they process it. Again, that goes back to different learning styles too.
Agree. Which is one song which is guaranteed to grab attention of the kids?
Right now it's Rashi.
So let's say you have finished all your lessons. Which is your favorite spot in KWC to unwind yourself?
Sport or things that I do?
Oh yeah, anything. Or
unwind?
Your favorite place?
Oh, well, I'm a bit of a shopaholic. So I will say that I do like a good shopping trip to purchase something clothing-wise.
Okay. If you're not teaching music, what else would you be doing?
If I was not teaching music, I actually don't know what I would be doing. But, there are times that I've thought about going back into the marketing side of things, because it is something that I do. Like my son does a lot of marketing classes in school, and I'm getting back into it a bit, so I'm helping him with things. And if I had a chance, maybe if someone said you can't teach music, I'd go back into marketing.
Okay. What is success for you? A highly profitable studio, ultimate schedule freedom, or community legacy?
I think it's a combination of all three.
Okay.
Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Yeah. So, the scheduling thing, sure. That's important because you need to be able to have personal time versus office time, and that's always tough. Leaving a legacy is so important too. And I have some students that have left me that have moved on and are in university and whatnot, and they still keep in touch with me, or they mention me on their social at one point. Oh, I remember when Miss Sherri did this or whatever, because I'm on their socials, right? So I see these things. So I would say it's probably it's a mixture of all of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is the funniest excuse one of your students has given you for not practicing?
Oh, I've gotten tons over the years. It's so hard to tell. I mean, my piano's broken. That was a good one. I have one that's actually, it's not really an excuse, but it was darn cute. So I have one of my preschoolers was in here and we were exploring the piano and we were exploring the pedals. And that's the first time she'd ever heard of the pedals. So I said, okay. And she said, what are those things down there? I said, okay. I said, those are the pedals. And she goes, whoa, you can drive this thing? Well, I just killed myself laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Yeah, I put it on social media. Got a few laughs.
Yeah. Let's say you have to perform to get $1 million grant.
Okay.
From somebody, hypothetically.
Okay.
Which song would you perform?
I'm not much of a performer anymore. I have to say, as they say, a lot of teachers don't perform anymore. They let their students perform. I try to perform at my recitals. If I had to perform a song, I mean, Fleur Elise is one of my favorites. That was the one I played. So I would say that's probably a good one. And I'm very much into lead sheets now. So singing and just playing the chords and singing along. So, anything Joni Mitchell or something like that.
Okay. If MusicMakerz has to get a mascot from the local community, which animal would you choose? And Canadian goose, Victoria Park swan, or Grand River blue heron?
I always think of the blue heron as more of a creative animal, so I would go with the blue heron.
Okay. Which song is your all-time favorite song?
My all-time favorite song. I have many, but I am, as I said, I'm a Joni Mitchell fan. I like both sides now.
Okay. That brings us at the end of this rapid fire round. I thank you so much for giving your time to me and recording this session.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun.
If you're trying to turn your passion into a successful venture, I hope you would have taken some notes. I will soon come up with more stories to cover within Kitchener, Cambridge, and Waterloo. I will see you real soon. Thank you.